How's going, guys, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we finished Amy's arc. Haha, now we can start over again from exercise and do not speed up. There's no fan art here, as there's no character path. Blah, you know what I mean. I could put on some random, but I don't know. Exercise. Will I able to do more? We already went go for it, and then that's the Amy's part, so take it easy. I let Amy go with her own pace, and she doesn't show mercy, pulling a half a lap ahead of me in an instant. I don't blame her. I mean, it's not as if I'm really putting up any sort of real fight out there, is it? Instead, I'm just running at a steady pace, which is what I should be doing, right? There's no need to go pushing my limits at this stage of the game. God, is this even worth it? As we finish the second lap, I break off again. Amy keeps going, and it almost seems to me that she's disappointed. Well, that's stupid. I don't have anything to prove to her. Come to think of it, I got nothing to prove to myself either. I'm just fine the way I am, and what I'm not is a runner. This is probably a bad idea. Maybe there's something else I can do instead of this. Getting up this early sucks anyway. There's got to be some other way to keep healthy. Walking, maybe. Nice afternoon walks. Yeah, that sounds good. Running isn't for me. I wave to Amy and head back to my room. I'll think of something else later. Back in my room, the first thing I see is a familiar row of medication bottles lined up in my top of the bed. And it makes me depressed as usual. It's annoying. I thought it was okay. I was okay. I thought I had made my pace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality of trying to fight against it just hurts. Reflecting on it, it's only going to do so much. I've done this before, for months. It seems like it's time to get over it. If I allow myself to forget that my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it is a life in progress. That is how I rationalize it. I downed the usual handful of pills, trying to push the sudden dreary feeling out of my head. Then I prepared to head out of class early as usual. As I step into the hallway, I notice Kenji coming around the hallway corner, stealthily making his way over his own room with a large bag. As he sneaks past me, soundlessly like a ninja hiding in plain sight, I call out to him, "Hey!" He jumps at the sound of my voice. "Oh, hey man! I didn't notice you there. I'm really tired." I think it's more like he didn't see me, but that's not the issue. Where have you been this early? Shopping? Nah, I wasn't shopping. Something I have to visit. The math teacher. Yeah, I figured it would be a good idea to find out when the next exam is, since he tells you in advance if you want. So then, what's in the bag? I thought I'd go shopping while I was outside. I needed supplies to continue to fight against the vast feminist conspiracy. Oh, okay. I thought you didn't go outside. I wear a hat now. I decide not to point out that he's not wearing a hat. An awkward silence settles between us, and then Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open slowly, releasing a creaking sound into the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. He sits the bag down inside his room and then closes the door. I'm surprised you went out of your way to find out the test date. Trying to take advantage of the opportunity to study is pretty diligent. I never study. Oh, I just wanted to know when the next test day was. I'm still going to take it, duh. I need to know so I know that day I can't afford to skip class. He usually sends out updates on that crap by phone, so I had to step out and check up on it. And why do you have to go out? And when you can get it in on your phone? I don't carry a phone. What do you mean you don't carry a phone? You mean you just leave it at home? Nah, I don't use phones. I don't have a phone. Phones? I don't have phone. I have no phone. Why don't you have a phone? Can you not have a phone? No phone at all? No phone? I just don't like phones. Actually, I'm kind of scared of them. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of repressed trauma. But basically, when I hear a phone, I get nervous. It's my darkest secret. I have two theories on it. Either I have some fear of receiving some undefined, ominous, life-altering doom call, or I was beaten with a phone in the past. Beaten so badly I can't remember it. Beaten in the head? Well, where else can I get beaten with a phone that would make me unable to remember it? The ass? Unexpectedly logic, I feel very depressed now. Since this conversation is more or less over, Kenji opens his door again and prepares to head inside. Yeah, I'm going to sleep, dude. Have a night. Have a good one. Class is going to start in likely 20 minutes. I already did something today. Too tired to go to school. Hey, need some lip balm? I accidentally bought 2 because I thought the store had started selling individual AA batteries. Thanks, but no thanks. Whatever, man. He swiftly entered his lair, finally letting me go to class. For a change, I'm not among the first ones to come to morning class. Instead, almost everyone else seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their face by now, though the names escape me still. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overtly attentive. The first days I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good one, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Everyone burst out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant to do was... The remainder of the sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Muto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in this school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. Isao! I'm going to make you one-time only super extra special lunch offer. Amy's homemade lunchboxes, and the privilege of enjoying them in private with 2 bombshell beauties. Her overly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway. A remarkable feat. Okay. Oh, okay, it does. I think. Ah! Great, it does! I guess I need to buy some supplies. I can't live off cafeteria food and eating out for an entire day. I guess I was able to skip all the text I've already read before, because the scene seems very familiar if I took Amy's route again. As I leave for the gate, I make a few long, loud stretches to try to stave off the tiredness that accumulated over the week. After passing through the rounding the corner, though, I see a solitary figure walking downhill towards the small town below. The color of her hair and tapping of her cane are unmistakable. I quickly walk up to her, which seems to catch her attention without a word needing to be said. Okay, Hisao wants to go like afternoon strolls or whatever. Hi, Lily. She takes a moment to place the voice, slightly adjusting her head to face a bit more towards the source of my voice as she does. Hisao? Yep, that's me. She seems to have a good memory of voices. The fact that she actually remembered is a pleasant surprise. Good evening. What brings you here? Once again, she gives a small, polite bow, and once again, I reply in kind before realizing that I didn't need to do. Just going into town. You? My, what a coincidence. Doing the same thing, eh? I'm Canadian, eh? Okay. I usually go shopping on Fridays. She pauses for a moment, so looking a little lost. That said, Hanako usually comes into town with me. Ah, not lost, but worried. The two of them, though, seem to keep pretty close tabs on one another. It's kind of surprising that Hanako would just forget about Lily like that. I noticed her reading in the library. She probably just caught up in a book. She lets out a small sigh of relief. Thank you. She has a habit of doing that. Avid reader? Right. She doesn't like being around crowds of people, so reading away from everyone lets her relax a bit. Although she probably didn't intend it, I can't help but grimace as I recall my first meeting with her. Hardly wanting to bring it up, I remained silent as we quietly continued to walk down the quiet road. Tack, 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 tack. The road bereft of cars and the students of Yamako increasingly far behind us. The quiet rustling of the leaves and the measured tapping of Lily's cane against the sidewalk are all that can be heard. It's kind of nice, especially compared to the hustle and bustle of where I used to live. But before I know it, I relax so much that the long yawn escapes before I can control it. Tired? Yeah, been running ragged these past few days. That's an understatement to be sure. Transferring into a different school would be bad enough, but nothing like this. Well, hopefully, everything should settle down for you. The festival got everyone in the right spin right now, so you've been plopped right in the middle of things. For a moment I hesitate, but giving her apparent tolerance for frankness, I decide to give my full thoughts. I guess Yamako's kind of different though. I mean, the formality surrounding everything, the isolation around it, not to mention the most obvious difference. It's kind of a whole different mindset. I suppose I'll get used to it though in time. She gives a matter-of-fact nod, apparently pleased with my answer. It feels almost as if she's included me in the flock of students she's shepherding, along with Class 3-2 and Hanako. Well, not that I mind. It's nice to get the thoughts off my chest in any case. Looking on the bright side, one could see the chance for a new beginning. You should cherish the ability to make new friends. That's optimistic. Nonetheless, it's good to have a positive attitude about such things, I suppose. I guess that's a good take on it. Walking on down the road, she seems to become somewhat unsettled. Before I can ask her what's on her mind, she seems to collect herself and speak up about something else. So, where in town were you going? That's actually a pretty good question. I come to buy food, but the layout of the place is still totally foreign to me. I had intended to just wander around to see what I could find, but with sunset already approaching and nightfall not too far away, that doesn't seem very wise. I'm going to have ask her for direction again. I was just going to get some food, but now that you mention it, I don't really know the way. Well now, this is quite lucky. I was just about to go to the convenience store myself. Looks like I'll be in your care again then. Thanks. Together we walk to the store. My pace is carefully slow to remain beside her. Compared to my usual walking pace, hers is quite a bit slower. Not that it's without a reason. After what couldn't be more than several minutes, I catch sight of our objective. This town really is pretty small. Without further ado, we make our way inside the greeting. Start with a greeting from the counter. Irashaimase! Mind if I tag along with you? Usually Hanako would help me, but seeing that she's not here, it takes a moment before I realize what she means. Considering she wouldn't be able to read any of the labels, shopping without any help would be a big pain for her. That said, I can't shake the feeling that she had this idea since I said I was coming here. Sure, it'd be my pleasure. I grabbed 2 well-used red baskets from the small stack beside the entrance, handing one to Lily. Shook, shook. She lays it on the ground, putting her school bag in, retracting her cane and sliding it through the basket handles before picking it back up with her right hand. Wait, if she doesn't use her cane... Before I can complete that thought, she becomes beside me and pinches the cuff of my uniform in her slender fingers. Is this alright? Ah, sure. I have no reason not to accept it. I can't think of worse things than shopping with a pretty girl holding on to me, even if it is out of necessity. We navigate our way through the store, with not one of the occasional passing customers seeming to bat an eyelid. Considering how close Yamako is, I guess seeing students from there must be entirely normal for the local residents. As we reach each aisle, I quickly check up with Lily and find out what she needs. I grab it along with what I'm looking for and put our items into their respective baskets. I guess this is the same routine she and Hanako follow every Friday. Alright, all that's left is the bread and that should be my shopping done. Do you need anything else, Lily? No, this should be everything. Off we go then! With a quick side trip to the bakery section, we make our way to the registers. The line, thankfully, is almost non-existent. It's not long before we both paid for our food and are out the door. As Lily retrieves her cane and extends it to full length, I waste a minute looking upward to the night sky while holding both our bags. For a moment I try to make clouds with my breath, but the summer's heat doesn't seem to cooperate. Eventually, she rights herself, taking a quick stretch before taking her bag and leaving me to my 2. You tired as well? The festival preparation has been complete chaos. She isn't breathing down my neck doesn't exactly help things either. Hey, she's only trying to get everything organized. Better now than later, right? I suppose. I'm going to enjoy relaxing in town tomorrow. That's for certain. I guess the festival preparation must be taking their toll on both of them. We walk out into the quiet street, talking between ourselves as we carry our bags of food and supplies from the store. Wait, what's that? I notice a very distinctive figure making its way towards us, silhouetted by the street lamps. For a second I thought it'd be another male student from my class, but as he, or should I say she, gets closer, I recognize her quickly. It's Hanako, right? Oh wait, it's Rin! Well, there goes my guess. Rin, what are you doing out here so late? Rin? Lily perks her head, looking like she's trying to focus on listening more keenly. It suddenly comes to me that I should probably interpret the scene for her. It's Rin, Tezuka. I think it was her last name, from our school. She stiffens at the name and gives me a complicated looking expression, something like a forced fusion of composed smile and a painful cringe. Ah, I understand. I guess Lily knows Rin too. Rin turns to look at us, looking terribly out of it. I'm not entirely sure if she recognizes either of us, or at least she doesn't acknowledge it if she does. She looks like a zombie or a statue of a zombie. But slowly some symptoms of understanding seems to light her in the dark eyes. This is something she must react to. Rin blinks once, very thoroughly. Hello. There's an awkward pause, everyone waiting for someone else to say something. What are you doing here this late? I was wondering about that myself too just now. Some people asked for just before. I assumed they were wondering the same. I didn't know. They didn't know either. I asked, that's why I'm wondering. So that was pretty much it. It's a murder mystery without a murder. They were going that way. She turns facing to her right in order to demonstrate the direction of the other people who went to, as if that was important, then rotates back like a mechanical puppet in one of those overly complicated clockworks. For a person who gives an impression of being the quiet type, Rin really does use a lot of words to say things that don't need a lot to be said. Unsure if she's finished, I say something. I say nothing. Neither does Lily, who seems equally robbed of words for the time being. I think that both of us are in fact just scared that any response might provoke her to continue. Our stupefied lack of reactions doesn't faze Rin at all. She keeps looking at us expectantly, a calm hint of expression on her black face. She seems to be the kind of person, always so relaxed. As if bull elephant grade sedatives were flowing in her veins in the place of blood. Do you have amnesia? I don't recall you having anything of the sort, though. No, I don't think it's that. The other passerby were probably just worried, though. You do look really lost, the way you're standing in the middle of the street. Oh, I see. Maybe I should have taken some other kind of pose in that case. I pondered for a while whether I should chase this angle further or give up for the sake of my own sanity. I decided on the latter. I think that most of the time it's better to not read too deeply into what Rin is babbling about. Talking with Rin is like playing chess with a supercomputer who does seemingly completely random moves, as if to mock everything you know about chess. It's like that, except with human interaction. And even if I win, it feels like losing. Damn, it's just like Kenji said. Even when I win, I lose. Is this the power of the girls of Yamaku? I push the thought aside as too dangerous to consider further. It's probably just Kenji anti-female propaganda getting to me during the moment of weakness. Yeah, maybe taking another pose might have worked. So, anyway, you have no idea what you're doing here? She frowns, looking extremely displeased at either my question or my question, its consequences, or the answer she's about to give. I do have some idea. I can't really tell what kind of an idea. That sounds like progress, at least. Lily sounds as if she spotted an opening for some kind of discernibly normal conversation. I can't say I share her optimism. Yeah, there is some. Definitely. The rest will come later. I'm sure of it. I always have reasons. The ensuing silence kills Lily's hopes all too visibly, and didn't last long. Rin's, as far as I can tell, unbased. Assurances aside, what should be done? We could just leave her to her own devices, whatever those are. It's late, and I don't think we'll be getting anything. Thanks if Rin is found standing here in the middle of the night, which she probably will unless she managed to remember what she was doing here in the first place. As for me trying to guess what might have been going on in her mind when she decided to embark on this adventure, the chances seem to be on par with winning the lottery several times in a row. Lily is oddly quiet too. I'd appreciate some support from the sidelines here, especially if she's more familiar with Rin than I am, but it can't be helped. It seems her familiarity with Rin is exactly why she's staying subdued. Why was that so hard for me to say? So I assume you were going somewhere, not coming back to the school. Any idea where? Her eyes widen in shock as she jolts back in a somewhat artificial way, making it seem like an act rehearsed for situations like this. Are you a mind reader? Is that your disability? How unique! No, what? Why would you think that? You knew what I was doing. It was just an educated guess. We walked this same street in the other direction just before to get to the store. If you were going to school, we would have met you on the way. Oh, she looks a little disappointed. Rin appears quick to jump to a completely irrational conclusions. Maybe it's something in the water here. Make a mental note to stock up the soft drinks. You know, that is the second time this week that someone asked if I was a mind reader. Do I really give off that impression? Rin shrugs his shoulders, which is all the answer I get. You know, maybe you should come with us back to the school. Lily interjects, just as about to further debunk my alleged mind-reading capabilities. She sounds rather concerned, the paper-thin smile on her face barely disguising that fact. Maybe she came to the same conclusion as I did. For everyone's sake, I decided to let the mind-reading topic drop, as it's entirely inane way. Anyway, yeah, Lily's right. If you can't remember, there's no point staying here. Rin considers this rather simple deduction for a moment, then nods. Okay. That was a little pointless. We'll start towards the school again, having wasted way more time than necessary with this episode. Rin walks along the edge of the sidewalk in her arrhythmic way, looking like a mix of a sleepwalker and a rope dancer, while Lily keeps one hand on my shoulder, tapping at the ground with her cane. Tap 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 tap. Apart from a few fragmented beginnings of conversation, it's quiet apart from the relaxing one into town that. So how's the mural going? We are going to get bad luck. Never talk about works in progress. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Bad luck. Tap 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 tap. She doesn't care to talk about it. Lily's politeness feels out of place. For the first time, step step step. The hill Yamaku rests on top of the surprisingly steep going uphill, which not a place. There, pace. But I still feel my pulse rising and breathing getting heavier. Almost there. I can see the gates already. More than that, though, I notice that Lily's hand slightly tightens on my shoulder. Interpreting it's a gesture she wants to ask something, I speak up. Anything wrong, Lily? I resist the urge to say aside from our traveling companion, but only just. For a moment she seems to debate whether she should even bring it up, but goes for it anyway. Is everything alright? Alright? What do you mean? The fact that I can't interpret her incredibly vague question puts her off for a second. It's just, you seem unusually tired, I guess. Not that she brings it up, I noticed that my breathing is strangely heavy. The uphill walk has really done a job on me. I didn't notice it all too quickly. I guess I'll save it here and save this for next time. Let's create a new save, yeah. I guess one of them leads me to Lily's arc, or it's just a question, I don't know. Wait, Lily or... I don't know. I'm gonna leave it next time. Come on!
What is he doing?
I think he's sucking up the energy from the volcano's cries.
What are you trying to do now?